Dr. Seuss, or Dr. Seuss, as his Bavarian family called him. His middle name was also Dr. Seuss. Dr. Theodore Seuss Geisel, to be exact. He adopted the name Dr. Seuss so he could keep his real name for his great American novel. Little did he know his kids' books would be his great American novel. It's probably not a true story according to his family, as he liked to tell long tales. When talking to the media, he preferred to tell a good story than a true one. Little did he know his life was going to become a good story and a true one. Ted got suspended from college for drinking and was kicked from his editorial job at the Jack O' Lantern. For the first time, signed his cartoons, Dr. Seuss, to cover his real identity to nullify his suspension from the paper in 1928, and hence Dr. Seuss was born. Dr. Seuss was never a PhD. He tried, but he'd never had the propensity for being a PhD. He had better propensity for doodling. One day a girl looked over and said, "You should be drawing, not being a professor." Soon they got engaged and were together for the rest of Ted's life. This was his wife Helen. Quick Henry Flit was where the beef of his time. It was an ad for pesticide, but for years it was everywhere. He made lots of money off of that ad. This was the ad that made him famous. This ad was his income for 30 years until 1957 when Cat in the Hat was written. A Star Was Born Again. This was his 13th children book. He started writing children's books because of some clause in his contract for Henry the Flit that wouldn't allow him to write adult books anymore. But it also happened to be the same year they found out Helen couldn't have children. He decided to write for kids and teach them how to read and learn since he wouldn't have kids of his own. He wrote book after book until finally receiving a poet laureate, which he made fun of as a poet laureate for writing nonsense. While he wrote many books and many had messages for the ones he wrote closer to his death, really started to have more messages for the kids. He wanted them to learn that everyone was the same and to love everyone. He wanted them to know that racism and hatred in the world had to go, and he wanted to leave his stamp on the world. He even told Helen on his deathbed that the best slogan I can leave to the kids of today is, "We can and we have to. We've got to do better than this." Dr. Seuss may not have had a huge impact on your life, but in a life filled with rage and anger, drinking and violence, these are the books that I had to learn from. These are what showed me the world I needed more love. And it was up to people like me to give it out and show it to other people, because there were too many grumpy schnoozle-whatsits and too many Grinches in the world, and they outnumbered the amount of who's in the world. So I must ask, are you a Grinch in your life? Or are you going to be like Dr. Seuss wished and gave his life for, and go be a Cindy Lou Who? I personally feel like dancing and singing and hugging my loved ones. I don't know where I'd be without them, or without Dr. Seuss. I hope one day you get to visit the garden where he's currently sitting on a bench next to the Cat in the Hat and surrounded by a garden of all his creatures. It's in Springfield, Massachusetts at the Dr. Seuss National Memorial Sculpture Garden. I know that I've added it to my bucket list, and I think you should too. Thank you, Dr. Seuss. I love you, and I know that you would love me too, because you loved everybody in your life.